Hello and welcome to another edition of Foreign Dispatches, the program that takes you around the world. I'm Teniola Shoboale. On the program this week, the Taliban celebrates takeover of Afghanistan 1 year on as Afghans lament economic crisis. Plus, William Ruto declared winner of Kenyan presidential election. The Taliban this week marked the first anniversary of their return to power in Afghanistan with a national holiday on Monday. In the 12 months since the United States' chaotic withdrawal, some Afghans have welcomed improved security but struggle with poverty, drought, malnutrition, and the fading hope among women that they will have a decisive role in the country's future.
Some Afghans fired celebratory gunshots in the air in Kabul, and Taliban fighters gathered, waving the group's black and white flag to mark a year since they marched into the capital after a stunning series of battlefield victories. In the ceremony attended by the Taliban government ministers, Acting Foreign Minister Ahmad Khan Mustaqi says their rule had brought security where the United States had failed.
We tell the world that the stability and security in Afghanistan is beneficial for the entire world. Instability in Afghanistan is never beneficial for the world.
Roughly 25 million Afghans are now living in poverty, well over half the population, and the United Nations estimate that up to 900,000 jobs could be lost this year as the economy stalls. According to the Red Cross, the economic situation is so bad in the country that many residents in towns and cities are resorting to selling personal belongings in the streets in order to survive and begging in bread lines. The United Nations Children Agency estimates 1.1 million Afghan children under the age of 5 are expected to suffer from severe malnutrition in 2022.
In Afghanistan, the biggest cause of malnutrition is the underlying poverty rates. And second to that would be the conditions of drought, right? They drive each other a little bit. But malnutrition is also caused by inadequate health care or unclean water that causes disease. And we see all of that. Over the past year or so, there's no question the number of children who are severely malnourished has doubled. And I do not see those numbers improving. I see them getting worse.
The country is safer than it was when a hardline Islamist movement was fighting against the US-led foreign forces and the Afghan allies, although a local offshoot of the Islamic State has carried out several attacks. Yet that relative security cannot mask the scale of the challenge the Taliban face in setting Afghanistan on the path of economic growth and stability. There are huge pressures on the economy caused in large part of the country's isolation as foreign government refuse to recognize its rulers.
Humanitarian organizations alone cannot replace public institutions of a country of 40 million people. So we really urge states and development agencies to return to Afghanistan, to support Afghans who continue to bear the brunt of economic turmoil, drought, and the fallout of decades of conflict.
Development aid upon which the country relied on so heavily has been cut, as the international community demands that the Taliban respect the rights of Afghans, particularly girls and women whose access to work and education has been curtailed. Restrictions on female dress code in the country were reinforced in May when the Taliban government ordered women to cover their faces in public. Women now have the option of either wearing the burqa or the hijab. The last time the Taliban ruled Afghanistan in the late 1990s, women could not work, girls were banned from school, and strict Islamic laws was brutally enforced, including through public executions.
Meanwhile, as thousands of Afghans fled Kabul as the Taliban took over, the Kohistani family was split up and still remain apart a year later. This is the case for many Afghan families. Although there are no accurate estimates, thousands fled the country in the chaotic days that followed the Taliban's military conquest on August the 15th, 2021.
Masouda Kohistani managed to get out of Kabul a year ago, desperately fleeing the Taliban, A political analyst and women's rights activist under the previous regime, she's now in the Spanish city of Salamanca. But as this emotional call shows, her mother and more than a dozen other family members were forbidden to board the same military plane and were left behind on the tarmac. Attempts to bring them out later failed due to lack of travel documents and funds. For Koistani, the guilt is crushing.
It was very difficult when I called to her. Before we start greeting, she stopped crying, because after a long time she saw me. I saw her eyes, how she was crying because of me. She missed me too much.
Koistani's sister says it was hard to let her go and live in a foreign country alone, and they worry about her constantly.
It's difficult, but we have no regrets, because her life was in danger. Even Masouda herself said then that she would prefer suicide to being arrested by the Taliban.
She and their mother said the Taliban conduct surprise searches of their home to check if Masouda has returned from Spain. The Afghan Interior Ministry denies the searches. Thousands of Afghans fled the country in the chaotic days that followed the hardline Islamic Taliban's military conquest last August. According to the deputy spokesperson of Afghan Interior Ministry, the Taliban had invited them all to return and a special commission was set up to help that happen. Koistani has been jobless since she arrived in Spain, mainly because of the language barrier. A local NGO gives her money to pay rent and buy food. She used to support the family. Now, she can't pay for her mother's medications.
I was the only one that I played the role of as a father and mother to all my family members, because I worked hard and I worked with a lot of international organizations and I had good income than the rest of my family members. And currently the most things which make me painful, the lack of education for my family member. Even they do not have money to pay the rent of their bus. These are my clothes that I only.
Koistani is taking Spanish lessons and has applied for a master's degree in politics and human rights, which she hopes will allow her to get a related job and eventually bring the family over. According to Spanish Interior Ministry data, almost 2,000 Afghans have sought asylum in the last year. Just about 1,500 have been granted it so far.
Away from Afghanistan to electoral matters, after days of anticipation, Kenyan Deputy President William Ruto was declared the winner of the country's presidential election amid dramatic scenes on Monday. The announcement was delayed amid scuffles and allegations of vote rigging by opposition Valia Odinga's campaign.
After a week-long wait for results of the August 9th poll, the chairperson of the Kenya's electoral body declared William Ruto the winner of the vote, beating his rival, Raila Odinga, by a narrow margin after a largely peaceful voting process.
I, Wafula Chebukati, chairperson of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, hereby declares that Ruto William Samoei of ID number 6847208 has been duly elected as the President of the Republic of Kenya under the provisions of Article 138 of the Constitution in the presidential election held on 9th of day of August 2022.
55-year-old Ruto had made Kenya's class divisions the centerpiece of his campaign to become Kenya's 5th president.
I want to promise all the people of Kenya, whichever way they voted, that this will be their government. I know many are wondering, especially those who have done many things against us. I want to tell them that they have nothing to fear. There is no room There is nothing. There is no room for vengeance. There is no room for looking back. We are looking into the future. I am acutely aware that our country is at a stage where we need all hands on deck to move it forward.
However, the announcement of the election results did not calm nerves in the country as scuffles erupted as supporters of opposition leader Raila Odinga stormed the stage and clashed with soldiers. Adding to the tension, some senior election officials disowned the results announced by Electoral Commission Chairman Wafula Chebukati.
The absence of a credible and verifiable explanation, we concluded that the process that went into generation of Form 34C, which he used to declare results of the presidential election, was opaque and incapable of earning our ownership and confidence. We state categorically that the results of the presidential election held in August 9, 2022, declared and announced by Mr. Wafula Chebukati on August 15, 2022, belonged to himself and do not represent the declaration and announcement by Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission. The Commission has to process the results before they are declared and announced by the chairperson.
Veteran opposition leader Raila Odinga rejected the presidential election result as null and void, but urged his supporters not to take the law into their own hands.
Our view in Azimio is clear. The figures announced by Mr. Chebukati are null and void. I repeat, the figures announced by Mr. Chebukati are null and void and must be quashed by a court of law. In our view, there is neither a legally and validly declared winner nor a president-elect. It is not up to us to decide whether Mr. Chebukati has committed an offense. We leave that determination to the appropriate authorities.
On Tuesday, in the western city of Kisumu, Odinga's stronghold, calm had returned to the streets after protesters battered police and burned tires on the road overnight.
I'm not feeling good because the results that was being announced has just embarrassed my feelings. Yeah, that is not the way the Chebukati could announce it. Yeah, that is something that is not making sense, by the way.
By contrast, the mood in Eldoret, Ruto's home turf, remains ecstatic. The morning after the announcement, with portrait-waving Ruto supporters dancing on the streets.
A man who sell eggs and become president. So even our children can become president.
We are seeing the bright future, considering the promises that Dr. Rutos have promised the Kenyans. We as the Kenyans, we have a high hope.
Monday's dramatic events have raised fears of violence like that seen after past elections in Kenya. 77-year-old Odinga, who is running for president for the fifth time, has faced calls from home and abroad to resolve any disputes through the courts. He has challenged the results in the previous two elections, including successfully in 2017.
When Foreign Dispatches returns in just a moment, we head over to Dubai, where residents are finding ways to keep cool amid high temperatures. We'll tell you how in just a moment. Please stay with us. You're still watching Foreign Dispatches on Channels Television. Thanks to a change in the law last year, Angolans living abroad are now able to vote for the first time. General elections are scheduled to be held on the 24th of August. At one restaurant in Portugal, first-time Angolan voters share their excitement and worries about the polls.
At 51 years of age, Angolan chef Paulo Soares is looking forward to voting for the first time. He works at a restaurant in Portugal's capital, Lisbon. Until a change in the law last year, members of Angola's diaspora had to travel back to the country to vote. Soares says being able to take part fills him with emotion.
It's new. For the first time in history, an Angolan in Portugal, in Europe, who has registered can vote. That alone brings a lot of emotion. It's the first time in my life that I'm going to vote. I didn't get to vote in the previous election, and this time I'm going to vote. I'm 51 years old, and I'm finally going to be able to vote, to be part of some decisions taken in my country.
Around 14 million Angolans, both home and abroad, head to polls on August 24th. It's likely to be the tightest election since the southern African country's first multi-party vote in 1992. Current President João Lourenço is seeking a second five-year term, but the opposition, UNITA, led by Adalberto Costa Jr., is putting up a fight. Another of those voting for the first time is one of Soares' customers, Dania Silva. She moved to Portugal, Angola's former colonial ruler, a month ago. The 22-year-old says she's excited to contribute to her country, though also has doubts.
I have faith, but to be honest, and in a more practical way, I believe there will not be political change.
Every ballot cast abroad and in all of Angola's provinces has to be sent to the capital, Luanda, to be counted. Analysts say that's raised fears of voter fraud. UNITA says 2.5 million deceased people have registered to vote. Concerns have also been raised over the number of election observers. Members of civil society have urged people to remain at polling stations to monitor the process. The head of the National Electoral Commission has said that will be illegal and promised that the election will be impartial and transparent.
South Africa's Department of Home Affairs has reintroduced transit visas for travelers using ordinary passports issued by Bangladesh and Pakistan. In recent months, the South African passport has been in the news for all the wrong reasons, as a Bangladeshi national was arrested with a fake South African passport, and in another incident, passengers from the two countries were caught attempting to enter into South Africa illegally. South Africa's Home Affairs Minister recently announced the new regulations at a press conference in Pretoria, where he said a nation suffers numerous adverse consequences when her passports are defrauded.
7 years after transit visas were scrapped for those passing through South Africa, they have been reinstated for some countries. The Minister for Home Affairs, Dr. Aaron Motsoaledi, says it's part of efforts to protect the country's immigration laws at ports of entry and maintain passport security.
Today, I wish to announce that we have decided to withdraw the transit visa exemption, and we are reinstating transit visa requirements for Bangladeshi and Pakistani ordinary passport holders. And this started from the 1st of August 2022. The reintroduction of the transit visa is one of the practical and strong interventions we are making in our ongoing efforts to strengthen entry requirements at our airports. It also underscores our resolve to stop people from undermining our systems.
There are also some changes affecting South African citizens.
People might have realized that when they apply for passports, they could collect them from any office, any Home Affairs office in the country, and they could also be collected by third parties. Now, we are announcing today that unfortunately, this can no longer happen. And the following measures will be followed. 1, a passport can only be collected strictly from the office where it was applied for. Number 2, only the person who applied for the passport can come and collect it by activating it through a fingerprint.
And for those South African citizens who allegedly sell their identity to foreign nationals, Minister Motsoaledi says they cannot be disowned, but they will certainly face charges.
We can't disown them, they are South Africans. We can't disown them. All we'll do is to reverse what is in the National Population Register, put their original pictures, but charge them. That's why they are being charged now. You are aware that all of them are on bail. Those who are South Africans who have done this. We can't disown them, unfortunately. They are our citizens who were just outright extremely stupid.
With the Home Affairs Department going digital, 2.4 billion rand has been set aside to recruit 10,000 youth graduates to work on the digitization of its civic paper records. The 3-year project is expected to take off on the 1st of November 2022.
And finally, on the program, summertime is often synonymous with holidays, sun tanning, parties, and all-round fun. But when temperatures reach 40 degrees and higher, fun seekers in Dubai, tourist hub of the UAE, have to be creative. A new Icy Chamber at a local restaurant is all the rave as Dubai's summer reaches its peak, with temperatures getting as high as 50 degrees on some days.
These streets are usually packed full with tourists and residents alike. But Dubai's summer is at its peak and most are sheltering indoors. For the few that brave the 45 degrees temperature, this restaurant is offering an icy escape from the heat.
We are here because it is so hot in Dubai. It's about 40, 42 degrees outside, but we need somewhere to cool down and really chill out. So we heard about this spot and we thought we'd come check it out.
Welcome to Siberia.
London Project's new icy installation is all the rave.
It's extremely hot during the summer in Dubai. We all miss nice, chill, cold weather. London at the moment is experiencing super heat waves, and Dubai as a Dubai never experienced chills and cold and sub-zero temperatures. That's why we come across why not to bring something different, something new, something extremely cold to Dubai during summer, and that's how we start our ice bar.
Before entering the Icy Chamber, visitors have to be kitted for sub-zero temperature.
Good stuff. Ready to Siberia?
Yes, sir. And I don't know what's up.
Ladies and gentlemen, now we're gonna go to minus 25 degrees. Don't play heroes, okay? Don't take your jackets off because I'm not gonna pay your medical bills, yeah? All right, let's go inside and let's have fun.
No, there's not slam shots behind us, does it?
Don't worry, I will be here. Now, very quickly, everybody in, yeah? 1, 2, 3, go, 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 go. Go, go, go. Go, 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 quick, 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 quick. Come on, guys, come on, come on, come on, quick, quick, quick. Put your hat.
Once inside, the real fun begins. Thrill seekers spend as much time as they can endure capturing the moment and creating memories of a winter world inside Dubai. From the throne chair to the photo props, it's indeed a content creator's heaven.
What, minus 25 degrees? Have you ever been on as much as 25 degrees?
No, I haven't experienced minus 25 degrees before. It's freezing. But it's a good change from the almost 40 degrees outside, actually. For a while.
How long do you think you can last in here?
20 minutes. I think I can cope with 20 minutes. That should be good enough. Then I'll go find the sun before sitting in an AC room.
I'm with many of my friends. They're from Africa, and you know they can't believe the cold. But the truth is, in London, this is normal for us. We have to go to school like this. We have to go to work like this. This is normal for 3 months.
The project is also supporting wildlife in Antarctica.
We actually eco-adopt 15 polar bears in Antarctica, and we distribute the certification to our most loyal guests, which is absolutely amazing. Again, fantastic response. People actually feel like they are part of something really, really interesting and really, really cool to help preserve the wildlife in Antarctica.
Proprietors say the installation has been so successful, they plan to leave it till Christmas.
Well, this is where we say goodbye till next time. But remember, our top stories are never far away. You can catch them on channelstv.com. Thank you so much for watching the program. I'm Tenyola Shoboale. Bye for now.